Okay, so you guys don't know, but I bought a Dragon Hammer Voltz, and I also bought a Dragon Hammer V2 Voltz tires there. More V2 stuff here, as you can see. So my reasoning for buying the Dragon Hammer Voltz and a Dragon Hammer V2 roller was that I was able to get the spare parts and sell all the stuff that I did not want from the Voltz. So for those who don't know, a rear assembled is like 400 pounds GBP, and I wanted certain things off of the Voltz, and I stripped the Voltz for the most part and sold a ton of items on eBay. I have some more things on items for eBay right now. I learned a lot that people would, I had an opportunity to do something that people didn't get to do, which is have, both items together, side by side. The two roll cages are not exactly the same. The chassis are not the same. The rear trailing arms are not the same. It's pretty cool. I can maybe dig up some things and show the difference, but if you look at these rear trailing arms here on the V2, get the cover off, it's shorter. Now I did use the upper and lower links are shorter, but I did use the lower shackle bracket to lower the car. I used the V2 extensions, which were the same as the Voltz, but I also used the Voltz rears on the front. So they're a little over 2 inches. If I can bring out my scale. It's upside down, but if you see there, let's get the focus. Just over 2 inches. Also got the lights. When I hook them up, you'll see it. And I ended up getting I'm making a mess here. Also ended up getting making spool work. See if I can get some light on that. But yeah, that's a low-C spool. Again, like I said, learned a lot. I would say that there's a lot of things that are low-C here. Mixed bag of 5T and DBXL, MTXO. Some things are the same, some things are not. The diff towers are not the same. Although I believe that FID Racing has a set of diff towers I haven't got to try yet, but I did try some GTB diff towers, and the GTB diff towers are different. Therefore, you'd have to use low-C pivot brackets to make it work. The angles are different. You can just tell by here in the front here. If you see the way that is, get that to focus, man. The angles are different. Yeah. So it's a higher pitch up in the front. I did adjust the suspension a little bit. And again, like I said, I did use the little shackles from the Voltz. in comparison to the shackles that are on the V2. So this actually basically puts the axle over the trailing arm, which essentially lowers the car a bit. But like I said, for me, you know, I'm just trying things out, getting back into the game, going right into fifth scale, or right back to fifth scale, but fifth scale gas instead of electric or LiPo. I wanted the spare parts, and getting the Voltz. I like the Voltz body better than the V2. I sold the V2 body for dirt cheap on eBay. Didn't care about it at all. Somebody probably got it for about 20 bucks or something like that. It probably cost almost as much to ship. But I, you know, like I said, just, you know, hopefully somebody can put it to good use. I haven't decided if I'm going to if I'm going to run the mud tires or not. I do have, you know, the standard setup there. And also, I was able to collect a ton of spare parts, and not the stuff that you see with the labels on it, but like, that's a whole diff right there. And then I got those on my own, but then I have, you know, various items that I've, you know, repackaged myself. You know, and labels. You know, I got shocks. So shocks, a set of shocks is about $100 a pair. So, and then I got a diff that's about 80 bucks. Some various diff parts, pinion. That's how I purchased that. These hubs. With the bearings, you know, the bearings ready to go in place, and I think they're low-C. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're low-C. But yeah, I think it was a good move. You know, I'll break that. There's a couple things in here that are kind of hard to find. I mean, this is available, but you know, you still have to go order it. Shock tower bolts. This is out of stock on some websites. I think low-C fits. The low-C model fits though. You know. So I was able to gain a significant amount of spare parts from it. I also replaced the pins with low-C 5T pins. They're a little bit shorter, but only by like 3 mil. So it should work out just fine. It's not going to slide out or anything like that. And they're polished stainless steel versus the manufactured cut rods that are inside, that come inside the Voltz or the V2. Again, you know, more to come on the spool. I'll talk about that maybe in another video. I went to El Cheapo and Available. You know, my local hobby store had a Savox 0241 servo or approved model. So I went and got that from my local hobby store. I try to support the local guys. The beautiful thing about going with this lower shackle is the way this shackle is set up. It takes off the serious pinion angle, and look at how it sits in. You know, the pinion angle and drive shaft sits in the rest position. It's beautiful, perfectly straight. Maybe about a hint of, you know, 5 degrees or so, but it's beautifully set up right now, unladen. My motor comes in tomorrow, and I'll put out a vid for that one. Shout out to Botogel on that. Later.